Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. This is the video for the 28th of June 2024. Now let's quickly proceed and have a look at the pointers of discussion for the day. So first of all, we have the editorial segment, and here we talk about an Indian Express article. Now the title of this article is, What is the role of Lok Sabha Leader of Opposition? Here we understand the fact that, after a period of 10 years, that is 2 consecutive Lok Sabha terms, this time around, for the 18th Lok Sabha, we have a leader of opposition. So we'll understand why this post was laying vacant for about 10 years. We'll also understand what is the primary function and the role of the leader of opposition, and what is the requirement for being elected as the leader of opposition. Secondly, we talk about the news updates, and this is going to be followed by the last segment of legal news. So without further ado, let's start with the article and let's quickly have a look at the title of it. So what is the role of Lok Sabha Leader of Opposition? That is going to be the center of our discussion today. Let's have a look at the context. So please understand this is also an important information pointer which you may keep a note of for the purposes of your exam. So a question may come as to who is the Leader of Opposition for the 18th Lok Sabha. So the answer should be Rahul Gandhi, who is an MP from Rai Bareli. Also, what we need to understand is that this position, the post of Leader of Opposition for Lok Sabha, it was laying vacant for about 10 years. And the reason here is because no opposition political party had numbers which is equivalent to a tenth of the strength of the Lok Sabha. So since that was not the strength, so let's say for 2 consecutive years, for the 16th and the 17th Lok Sabha, we've had BJP in power. And let's say Congress is the other opposition political party. Now, Congress couldn't garner a particular strength which is equivalent to the 10th of the strength of the House. And as a result of this, there was no leader of opposition who was appointed, because the practice is that in order for the leader of the opposition political party to be called the leader of opposition, the political party concerned should have garnered a 10th of the strength of the members, which is equivalent to 10th of the strength of the House. Now, if I were to give you a factual information point here, so for 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha elections, for the 16th and the 17th Lok Sabha, Congress, which is the largest opposition party, it could win merely 44 and 52 seats. The party, now, if we talk about the current election results for 2024, for the 18th Lok Sabha, here, political party Congress concerned, it has doubled its 2019 tally to a number of 99 seats in this election. Now, if we talk about 2014, what was the situation back then? So since the number of seats was as low as 44, then Mallikarjun Kharge, he led the Congress in the Lok Sabha, and now he is the Congress president and Rajya Sabha leader of opposition. In 2019, on the other hand, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, he took over as the leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha, not as the leader of the opposition, but just leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha. Both of these persons, they were involved in panels choosing candidates for top roles, needing the leader of opposition's presence. Now let's talk about who can serve as the leader of opposition in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So who can be the person who is entitled for this position, or who can be considered as an eligible candidate? So the position of leader of opposition, it was officially described in the act by the name of the Salaries and Allowances of Leaders of Opposition in Parliament Act of 1977. This act, it defines the leader of opposition as a member of either the Council of States, which is the Rajya Sabha, or the House of the People, which is the Lok Sabha. The MP must currently lead the largest opposition political party in that respective house and be officially recognized as the leader of that largest opposition party by the presiding officer of the house concerned. So who would be the presiding officer of the Council of States? It would be the chairman. And we also know that the Vice President of India is the ex-officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So here, in the case of Rajya Sabha, it would be the Vice President of India. And when it comes to Lok Sabha, the presiding officer is the speaker, who is appointed by the House itself. And yesterday itself we covered as to who is the speaker for the 18th Lok Sabha. And this is my question to you as well. I would absolutely appreciate you answering the same in the comment section. So please go ahead and answer as to who is the speaker for the Lok Sabha. And also, which article of the Indian Constitution provides for the fact that the Vice President of India shall be the ex-officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So before the BJP in 2014 and 19, the Congress, which was the party in position with nearly 515 MPs in Lok Sabha back in 1984, it had also denied TDP, which back then had 30 MPs, the post of leader of opposition. So the fact that for the last two Lok Sabha 10 years, there was no leader of opposition. This is not happening for the first time. Back in 1984, also we saw a similar scenario when Congress was the majority ruling party and TDP had barely 30 MPs. Back then also, TDP was not, given the permission, or it was denied the post of leader of opposition. Now let's understand what position does the leader of opposition have in the House. So the leader of opposition sits in the front row to the left of the chair, and he enjoys certain privileges on ceremonial occasions. For instance, escorting the speaker-elect to the rostrum. The leader of opposition is also entitled to a seat in the front row during the address by the president to both the houses of the parliament. If you want to have, a live example of this fact that he escorts the speaker-elect to the rostrum, you can watch the telecast of the first day of Lok Sabha when Om Birla was elected as the speaker of the Lok Sabha, then the Prime Minister of India, and there was another person from BJP itself. They came forward and also called Rahul Gandhi as well. So three of them, they shook hands with Om Birla, and then he was escorted to his chair. So you can just have a look at any of the news channels for that recording. So the leader of opposition is also entitled to a seat in the front row during the address by the president to both houses of parliament. The leader of opposition's primary role, it is to represent the opposition's view in the House. And according to 2012 Parliament booklet, the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha is likened to a shadow prime minister who oversees a shadow cabinet. This structure, it is prepared to assume governance if the current government resigns or loses a confidence vote in the House. Now, in the parliamentary form of government or parliamentary system, which is based on mutual forbearance, the leader of opposition allows the prime minister to govern while retaining the right to oppose. According to the 2012 booklet, their proactive role in ensuring the smooth conduct of the House proceedings, it is equally vital to that of the government. Now let's talk about the fact that, theory apart, what practical role and responsibility does the leader of opposition have? So most importantly, the leader of opposition serves as the opposition's representative in significant committees, which is chaired by the Prime Minister. These committees are responsible for appointing key officials like the Director of CBI, the Central Vigilance Commissioner, the Central Information Commissioner. Then we have members of the National Human Rights Commissions and the Lokpal. As the leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha from 2014 and 2019, Kharge, he had alleged that the government repeatedly tried to keep the opposition out of the selection of the Lokpal on the ground that there was no leader of opposition. Now that we've gotten a leader of opposition, so then there can be, his participation and involvement in the selection of all of these important office bearers. So in order of precedence, the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha hold the 7th position. They share this rank with the Union Cabinet Ministers, the National Security Advisor, the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, the Vice Chairperson of Niti Aayog, former Prime Ministers and Chief Ministers. Now, as you know, we have the ranking of precedence as to, who is given the utmost importance or highest of office by virtue of, let's say, constitution or by virtue of the law. Then if we compare the list, the leader of opposition's position comes at the 7th place. That's a pretty decent, rank in the order of precedence. So this highlights the fact that the leader of opposition does indeed have a very important role to play. Now, this has brought us to the national news segment for the day, and this is the first update here. Arundhati Roy, she wins Pen Pinter Prize for the year 2024. Indian author Arundhati Roy has been awarded the Pen Pinter prize 2 weeks after the Indian authorities granted permission to prosecute the writer over comments she made about Kashmir 14 years ago. We have already discussed this entire issue about how some action has been taken against Arundhati Roy and also a former professor of the Central University of Kashmir. So recently, let's stick to the current update. She's won a very important prize, and you may make a note of this update because this is important one. This prize, it is given each year to a writer who, as described by Harold Pinter, fearlessly examines the world and demonstrates a very strong commitment to uncovering the genuine truths about our lives and societies. Arundhati Roy, she also won the Booker Prize in 1997 for The God of Small Things for her incisive commentary on issues which range from environmental degradation to human rights abuses. I'm sure some of you must have read this book called The God of Small Things. This is a very popular work of hers, and it fetched her the Booker Prize for the year 1997. ISRO to launch first satellite on SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket in the month of August. NSIL, which is the commercial wing of ISRO, we discussed about this, I believe, yesterday in our TNA as well. So the new Space India Limited, which is the commercial arm of ISRO, it will collaborate with SpaceX, which is a venture of Elon Musk, to launch the communication satellite, which is called GSAT-20. GSAT-20, it will be launched using SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. It is renowned for its reliability and safety in transporting payloads into Earth orbit and even beyond that. This marks India's first partnership with SpaceX, thereby reflecting a very significant stride in space exploration and satellite deployment. Union Minister Jitendra Singh announces grant of Mini Ratna status Category 1 for Central Electronics Limited. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, he announced the grant of Mini Ratna status of Category 1 for the Central Electronics Limited at its Golden Jubilee celebration. This is a very important update. Kapil Dev, he takes over as the president of Professional Golf Tour of India. Kapil Dev, the celebrated cricketer, he has taken over as the new president of the Professional Golf Tour of India. Kapil Dev, already a PGTI board vice president, was unanimously chosen, and he would be taking over or replacing H.R. Srinivasan. South India's first Leopard Safari, it opens in Bannerghatta. India's first largest and also third Leopard Safari, it was opened to the public at the Bannerghatta Biological Park. This park, it is a prominent zoo in the state, emphasizing scientific research and conservation. Now, this has brought us to the international segment for the day, and this is the first update here, which comes from Pakistan. Pakistan launches new military operation. So the Pakistani government has approved a revitalized national counter-terrorism campaign or operation, and this is called Operation Azm-e-Istehkam. The meaning of this particular term is resolve for stability. It is aimed at eradicating extremism and also terrorism from the country. This initiative, which was announced by the Prime Minister for Pakistan after a review of the country's counter-terrorism effort, it aims at addressing the domestic security threats and the activities of armed fighters crossing over from Afghanistan. Next up is this update, which is from US. Julian Assange, he pleads guilty in the US court. He walks out as a free man. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, he pleaded guilty to one charge of conspiracy or conspiring to obtain and disclose classified US defense information and was released, marking the end of a long legal battle. Now, this has brought us to the legal news segment for the day, and the first update is from the Honorable High Court of Punjab and Haryana. So the Punjab and Haryana High Court has observed that the right to marry a person of one's own wish, it is a fundamental right. The bench of Justice Kuldeep Tiwari observed, and I would like to quote it out, to marry a person of one's own choice, it is the fundamental right of every citizen. No one is best off with any right or authority to interfere in the marriage preferences of independent adults. The bench further observed that court is unable to comprehend as to how to mature, responsible, and consenting adults who have decided to spend their lives together, and that too after legally solemnizing their marriage, are not allowed to live a peaceful life as per their own wishes. Next up is another update from the Punjab and Haryana High Court itself, and this is with respect to Section 319 of the CrPC. So the Punjab and Haryana High Court has reiterated a position of law which is to the effect that the power of summoning any person not originally challaned, or to say not originally named in the charge sheet or named as an accused to the proceedings under Section 319 of the CrPC cannot be used simply because the prosecution or the complainant believes that someone else might also be guilty of the offense. Here, the bench, which was concerned in this matter, stated, and I would like to quote it out, "It is thus abundantly clear that the powers under Section 319 of the CrPC, it cannot be used simply because the prosecution or the complainant believes that someone else might also be guilty of the offense. Rather, it should be based on strong and cogent piece of evidence which is presented before the court." The name of this particular case is Mandeep Singh versus State of Punjab and others. So now this has brought us to an end of our TNA. Thank you so much for watching. And in case you have any suggestions for any recent topic that you would want us to cover in the editorial segment, I would absolutely encourage you putting it down in the comment section, and I would take it up for discussion for sure. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to answer the questions.